Hi, everyone. Welcome to the program tonight. My name is Patty Ortel, and I'm a psychic medium from Grand Rapids, Michigan, and a good friend of Carl and Ortran Franklin. And we are also members of the WIN Network. We do monthly shows for them, and we do different subjects, and sometimes we'll do mini readings and that sort of thing. My monthly show is the first Tuesday of every month at noon Eastern, and those are always recorded, and you can go back and listen to any replay at all on my website, feelingforhealing.com. And Carl's program, as you know, is the third Monday of every month at 8 p.m. Eastern. And Ortran, his wife, is now jumping into the program as well and is going to have her show on the second Monday. Yeah, I'm getting confused. Second Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern as well.
And it's going to be on schools.
It's going to be what?
On the mystery schools.
Excellent. And actually, Ortran's going to be a special guest this Wednesday at noon Pacific time, where you're going to be discussing the ancient Egyptian mystery schools with Cindy Silva, correct?
Yes, it's going to be an introduction to the monthly series that I'll be starting.
Great. And you can find that on worldclasswin.com. And also for those of you following along on the web, you can see the link over on the left-hand side of your page, the link to Carl's website, ourspiritualascension.com, and a link to the WIN Network. For those of you that are calling in, that are new callers tonight, let me just tell you a little bit about Carl. Carl holds a master's degree in theology and psychology and is a minister of the Coptic Fellowship International, which is a spiritual and metaphysical organization that embraces all faiths, beliefs, and philosophies. And while studying for his counseling degree, he became interested in utilizing both his conscious and subconscious mind. Practicing self-hypnosis and meditation has allowed him to go beyond the five senses. Carl is a dowser and a channel, and if you don't know what the dowser is, he uses the dowsing rods to get information from his guides or his aspect of his higher self, and he also is a channel, and he can channel in information from the guides and the angels, ascended masters. He has this ability to communicate with the higher realm. And one thing Carl does that I've had him do this for me before is he does life script readings. And I'll have him talk to you a little bit about that during his lecture tonight. But they're well worth it. Really, really helped me along on my spiritual path, almost helping you remember who you are and why you're here. He's able to tap into the Akashic Record, and it'll help you to remember your life's plan. So, Carl, I'm going to turn it over to you for your topic tonight, the 3 steps to ascension. Welcome, Carl.
Thank you, Patty, and welcome everybody else. It's good to be with you through this media. The 3 steps to ascension, these are not the only steps, but these are 3 that I feel are important. And I believe that the ascension process that we're now in the middle of is the most important thing that has happened to humanity ever since it's been on the face of the earth. We have the opportunity to, as a people, as a race, to ascend to a higher level of consciousness, to move from limited consciousness into a much fuller consciousness. And nothing of this magnitude has ever occurred in the history of the planet. And for us to be here at this time is an extraordinary privilege. Information that I have says that for every opening here on the planet, there were about 10,000 applicants. And because of this dynamic change that's taking place, we can, in this lifetime, growth that would have taken 10 or 20 lifetimes to get. And because of that, there has been such an influx of people here. In my lifetime, the population of the earth has more than doubled. because everyone wants this opportunity. And we were among one of the fortunate few that were selected. So it just behooves us to take the greatest advantage that we can of this opportunity to ascend. The 3 steps I want to talk about tonight. The first one is clearing out the old 3-dimensional stuff that we all carry. The second one is remembering who it is we truly are. And the third one is becoming one with not only ourselves, but with literally everyone and everything. Okay? Okay, clearing out the old 3rd-dimensional stuff. We've all been raised in a 3rd-dimensional world with 3rd-dimensional religions, governments, economies, educational systems, healthcare systems, etc. And what we have picked up is our 3rd-dimensional values, beliefs, attitude, responses, and behaviors. And we need to re-examine all of these. What values do you have? What beliefs do you have? What are your attitudes? What perspectives do you take on things? How do you respond? And what behaviors do you have? Are they coming from a limited consciousness of 3rd-dimensional? Are they coming from a negative, a judgmental, a point of view? If they are, they're holding you back. They're not doing you any good. They're doing you a disservice, and they're literally doing a disservice to the planet and to all of humanity. Because every moment that we're here, we are contributing our energy, our physical, our mental, our emotional, our spiritual energy to the collective human consciousness. And it is the collective human consciousness on planet Earth that determines the reality that we all live in. And as light workers, we came here with the intention of helping to raise that consciousness of all of humanity. And the only way we can do, or let me rephrase that, the most effective way we can do that is by raising our consciousness. And then it will be like the pebble in the pond. The ripples will reach out and touch all that we're in contact with. So it all begins with working with ourselves. So what is it that you value? If you're into more is better, that's 3rd-dimensional. If you're into ego, the 3rd-dimensional. If you have beliefs that limit you, if you have beliefs that make you less than you are, or beliefs that what other people are doing or believing is wrong, that's judgmental. It's 3rd-dimensional, okay? So we all are blessed with a mind, but limitations, and it has strengths. And one thing that is a limitation and at the same time a strength is that it can only hold one thought at a time. That's a limitation. But on the other hand, if we could hold more than one thought at a time, how would we ever focus? The important thing here is, with our mental body, to be aware of the thought you're holding in your mind. When you're awake, when we're all awake, we always have a thought in our mind. It's almost never that our mind is totally, completely blank. Be aware of that thought. Is it a positive thought? Is it a loving thought? Is it a joyful thought? Is it a peaceful thought? Or is it a judgmental? Is it a fearful thought? Is it an angry thought? If it is 3rd-dimensional, and if it's negative, it's 3rd-dimensional, it is holding you back. It is non-productive. It takes more energy to hold negative thoughts in your mind than positive thoughts. And there is nothing good that comes out of negative thoughts. Negative thoughts create negative emotions that create negative words and negative behavior. It is all limiting and destructive. So, rule 1, be aware of what you're thinking. Now, the thoughts that just pass through have little impact, but the thoughts that we hold on to, we tend to energize with emotion. And we create patterns of thought patterns. And these create emotional patterns, and this in a large measure goes on to define who and what we are. To be a fifth-dimensional person, it all begins with fifth-dimensional thinking that creates fifth-dimensional emotions, that leads to fifth-dimensional words and behaviors, fifth-dimensional reactions, even to third-dimensional situations. Okay, a second point here in clearing out old third-dimensional stuff. The third dimension is based on fear, a limitation, and a separation. Those are the three cornerstones of all of our third-dimensional institutions, from our religions to our governments to our economies to our healthcare to our educational system. Fear, limitation, separation. They're all negative, they're all limiting, and they are not constructive at all. Anything that comes out of that or that builds on that is still third dimensional. The strongest of these is fear. Fear is the most prevalent negative energy on the planet, and it has been throughout all of our history. Please replace fear with its opposite. Its opposite is love. Now, the fifth dimension is based on love, it's based on at-one-ment, and it's based on personal empowerment. So on one hand, we have, in the third dimension, fear. In the fifth, love. In the third, we have separation. In the fifth, we have at-one-ment. In the third, we have limitation. And in the fifth, we have personal empowerment. You see, they are exact opposites of one another. So let all thoughts, all values, all beliefs, all attitudes, behaviors, responses come out of love that creates at-one-ment, that creates empowerment, not only within you, but also within everyone else. It is, for me, for myself, it is my belief that my reason for being here at this time is threefold. And I suspect that this is true for most light workers. First, we're here to empower one another. We're here to help each person recognize and attain their maximum potential. Secondly, we're here to inform those who are ready to be informed. We're all here to be teachers, to be way showers, to be models, to be examples. And third, we're here to inspire. Can you imagine? To inform, to inspire, and to empower. If we were all doing that, and I'm talking all of humanity, what the world would be like. But if just you were doing that in your life, can you imagine what your life would be like and what impact you could have on your children, on your spouse, on your brothers, your sisters, your neighbors, your coworkers, your friends, your community? It is transformative, isn't it? The other thing is that we live in a world of separation. And the world was designed to create separation. It's my understanding that on most other inhabited planets there is one race, one religion, one governmental form. Here on planet Earth we have 5 races. We have, Lord only knows how many religions. We have how many different forms of government, of economies, and so on. We were placed here, and this world volunteered to host this experiment in duality and darkness. All right? This experiment is now over. the earth is now coming together in unity, in at-one-ment. Separation, that day is over. We are here to sense what we have in common with one another, not emphasizing the differences that we have. This is a whole change in perspective. It's a change in thinking. It's a change in attitude. Okay, we have a mental body. We have an emotional body. We have a spiritual body. We have a physical body. And all of these bodies are going to have to change to adjust not only to the higher energies of the fifth dimension, but to the higher thought patterns, the higher emotional patterns, and the higher beliefs. We've talked about the mental body. You know, if it's negative, get rid of it. Because we only have one thought in our mind that we can easily become aware of, if it's a negative thought, the way you get rid of it is you replace it with a positive thought, because we can only have one thought. And don't hold on to negative thoughts at inappropriate times. Some negative thoughts are appropriate. If they are, deal with it now. If it's not the right time to deal with it, or if it's just plain a game of what if this happens, what if that happens, that comes out of fear, stop the game. Replace it with a positive thought. And I want to tell you a story about my beautiful wife. It's a true story, and it shows you the power of your thoughts. We had just gotten married and moved to a new community, and she took a job. She was in computers. She was a systems analyst on the old big computers, the mainframes they called them, and she was working with 36 other people. And after working there for 2 months, she began coming home in tears. And she came home crying for 2 weeks solid. And then she made a decision. She said, I'm going to change that place, or I'm going to leave. I'm going to get another job. And she began working on changing that place. Every day, at least once during the day, she was filling that entire office space, an office complex, and each of the 36 people there with light, with love, with peace, with joy. And she did it faithfully, and after about 6 weeks, people began quitting. And as she continued doing that over the next 6 months, 1/2 of the people quit. They were down to 18 people. Nobody was working any harder. Nobody was working any longer, but all of the work was getting done. She raised the energy in that office, and the people that were negative became so uncomfortable, they decided to leave, and in fact did. 18 people were now doing the work of 36 people, nobody working longer or harder. Absolute proof. Negative energy is non-productive. And even after she did leave there a year or so later, that energy that she helped to create stayed there for a number of years. And what happened is, as this energy shifted, other people subconsciously began to join her. They were putting more positive energy in the place, and the positive energy just snowballed. You have that kind of power. We each do. Our thoughts are extremely powerful. And as we move more deeply into this fifth dimensional energy field, our thoughts are manifesting faster. We are more powerful than ever. Karma is going to be almost gone because we're going to realize it in this lifetime. We're going to realize it in minutes and hours and days, and so it can be dealt with very, very quickly. So please, positive thoughts, negative thoughts are all third dimensional. Now, with your emotional body, which is made up of feelings, of emotions, virtually all negative feelings come out of negative thoughts. All positive feelings come out of positive thoughts. If you change your thinking in your mental body, you're going to change the vast majority of emotions and feelings in your emotional body. And in your spiritual body, we've all been raised, those that have been raised in the church, with a third dimensional religion. And there's a lot of fear there. Fear God, for example. And there's a lot of separation between denominations and religions and so on. There's just a lot of negative energy. And Orchid and I do an awful lot of work with people after they have died. And one of the main reasons they do not go through the tunnel, which leads from the physical earth plane to the spirit, to what most would call the heavenly plane, we call it the astral plane, the primary reason they don't go through is fear. And most of that fear has been generated by the church. They're afraid they're not good enough. They're afraid they're going to be punished. They're afraid they're going to hell. And that is not true at all. So with your spiritual beliefs, if it is not empowering, if it is not positive, if it is not coming out of love, it's third dimensional and it needs to be re-examined. Okay? All fifth dimensional beliefs are positive, empowering, uplifting, inspiring. Okay? Check your beliefs. Get rid of the limited negative ones. So that's the clearing out that we're all confronted with and getting rid of this third dimensional stuff. The second thing, the second step here is remembering who we are. When you look in a mirror, you're seeing just a very, very small fragment of who you are. You're seeing your physical body. You don't see your mental, emotional, or spiritual bodies. You don't see any of the higher aspects of yourself. In my experience I've done about 2,500 life script readings, and I found that virtually all of the light workers, and these are the only ones that come for a life script reading, all of the light workers are descending beings. Now, there are two kinds of people on the earth, the descending and the ascending. The ascending, when they were left the heart mind of the Creator, were at a very, very low form or frequency. That is, they embodied very little of the Creator's essence. The descending beings, when they left the heart mind of God, embodied a great deal of the divine essence of the Creator. And their job was to work their vibrations ever lower and lower and lower until they reached the point that they forgot who and what they were. They forgot that they were divine aspects. And all the light workers are descending beings. We've come, 40% have come from the angelic realm. 40% have come from higher dimensions of space. 20% have come from all over God's creation, primarily various forms of the spirit realm. Okay? And the descension is now over. The ascending has begun. We have reversed the direction that we have traveled ever since we've left the heart mind of the Creator. The biggest change that's ever occurred in our existence. We have bottomed out, and we are now to work our way back into the heart mind of the Creator. As we descended, we left, I'm going to say 98, 99% of ourselves in higher levels along the way. We are the fragment of a fragment of a fragment of who it is we are in total. But the thing is that all of these higher aspects of ourselves, our life force comes through them. They're like transformers, working the divine life energy down to the level that we can handle it here in this dense, heavy environment of limited consciousness. They are very much aware of us. And now as we remember who we are and where we came from and what we were, we're going to be consciously reconnecting ourselves with them. The first higher aspect we're going to connect with is our Christ itself, high fifth dimensional. The second higher aspect is our mighty I Am presence, seventh dimensional. The third is our monad, our ninth dimensional self. So it's time to begin remembering, and to do that, you need to go within. And you also need to connect with your spirit family. We are all overlighted by 25 to 30 spirit beings. Some are higher aspects. Some are angels. Some are master and ascended master teachers. Some are guides from the astral plane. They overlight us. They're there because we're their teacher. They've never been to this low level of density and frequency and limited consciousness. And by observing us, they're learning what this level of creation is like. But they're also with us because they love us more than we could ever love ourselves. They love us so unconditionally, and they such a strong desire to help. But because of the law of non-interference, they can't help unless we ask. So in meditation, to connect with them and to begin dialoguing with them and to begin asking for what it is you need that can help you to remember who you are, to become who you have the potential of becoming, to fulfill your reason for being here at this time on this planet, their dream for you is that you become one with them and you allow them to become one with you. Then you can work with one energy, one consciousness, and one will. And the power that you have working with their power, their energy. Wow. Okay? So begin remembering who you are, and you have to go within and connect with your spirit family in order to truly do that. And the last point I want to make here is becoming one. It starts by becoming one with yourself. It continues by becoming one with your spirit family. It continues by becoming one with the nature around you, the plants, the animals, the water, the soil, the air. Becoming one with the consciousness of Mother Earth. And it continues by recognizing that you are an aspect of the divine creator. You are the microcosm of the prime creator, the one we call God, and so are all other people. In fact, everything that exists in all of creation are an infinite variety of aspects of the creator and expressing itself. You are God, so said Jesus, and so said an Old Testament prophet. You are a microcosm of the Creator. You are a microcosm of the creation, and you yourself are a creator. So becoming one with yourself and with all that is, and recognizing that you literally are the microcosm not only of the Creator, but of all of creation. For all of creation is the body of the Creator, and you are the microcosm of that. So get rid of the old three-dimensional stuff. Remember who you are, becoming one with yourself and everyone and everything. Those are the 3 steps we're dealing with to ascension tonight. Let me stop here and open it up. Any questions, any thoughts?
Yes, why don't we bring some people in that might have any questions or comments about this particular topic. And for those of you that would like any readings or dowsing, let's hold off on that just for a minute. And for any of you that have any questions about what Carl spoke about tonight, go ahead and press *2 on your phone, and I will take that in order, first come, first serve. I'm going to open up the phone line right now, and this is going by your caller ID, so the name might not be accurate, but I've got a caller from New Paltz, New York. Paul, you're on the line.
This is Sharon.
Sharon. Hi, Sharon.
Hi, thank you so much. I very much enjoyed, Carl, your presentation. It was wonderful. And I wanted to inquire about the dimensional, the experience of dimensional shifting occurring, and ask you, most people are talking about how little time they have to get things done. It's very clear that it's part of the consciousness change, but it also I try to feel forward, like, well, where's this going? Because it's almost like we're not going to be able to do things at all the way we've been doing them, because it's like we won't be able to get it all done in the same way. And I'm wondering what your sense is. I'm just trying to feel my way forward, and it's like, do we like pop into this other experience at some point where we have much greater state of bliss and peacefulness, and we're not thinking in a 3D way about, I have to get this done on my list today? I'm just wondering what your thoughts are.
Okay, thank you. It's a good point. How is this going to happen? What's the time frame? If those of you that are on my email list, I send out 1 to 3 email forwards each day, and it's basically all channeled information. And one of the most reliable, accurate sources that come through it's from Matthew. Matthew left the earth plane, I don't know, maybe 10 or 15 years ago, and his mother channels him. And he had a message this week that very much confirms what I believe, and that is that the ascension is not going to be a short-term, instantaneous thing. It is a process that we're going to go through. And those of you that might have read anything by Owen Waters, I'm going to use his analogy. I had gotten this in a meditation, and then a week later, basically the same thing comes from Owen Waters, and it's good to get that kind of confirmation. The way he described it, he said there are 2 ships. They're moored side by side in the same pier. And on December 21st, 2012, the mooring lines were cast off and the ships began to set sail. And what I got is that for about 3.5 years, these ships are going to be sailing relatively close to one another. That is, they're going to be in the same waters, the same weather pattern. On one of the ships are the people that have learned what the third-dimensional Earth had to teach. And on the other ship are the people that had not learned what the third-dimensional Earth had to teach. They had more learnings yet to go. The first ship, I'm going to call them the light workers, with varying amounts of light. And on the other ship, the people with little light and more darkness. After about 3.5 years, the people on the dark ship, without the influence of the light beings, the darkness is probably going to become more intense. And on the ship with the light workers, without the negative energy of the dark people, their light's going to become brighter. And so these ships are going to begin to veer apart. And you might say that the ones with the light workers, it's going to end up in the Caribbean Sea. And the other one, it may be sailing around the Cape of Good Hope, the roughest waters in the world. Okay? They're going to have vastly different experiences the more time goes on. But it is a gradual process, and it is happening one person at a time. And as we have enough people that are increasing their vibratory rate, their consciousness, that are remembering, that are doing more and more 5D thinking, believing, acting, and speaking, that's going to speed the process up. Okay? But I expect that the ascension process on planet Earth is not going to be complete for 100, maybe 1,000 years. We're going to be in the photon belt for 2,100 years. We're going to be in the Aquarian Age for 2,100 years. And we have that period of time to get to work our way through the fifth dimension. My gut feeling is that we're probably going to be well through the sixth dimension by the time 2100 years is up. Okay? So don't expect any miracles. It's not going to be instantaneous. We're not going to wake up one day and we're in a different world. Okay? It's going to be a gradual process. Anything else?
Carl, we have a question from somebody online that was a little confused about the descending and the ascending, with the light workers being these descending beings. So if you could just explain that just real quickly, because she had a little bit of confusion there on that.
Thank you. The light workers, in my experience, and again, it's a fairly good sampling of about 2,500. They have all come from higher dimensions of space, or from the angelic realm, or from a multitude of dimensions in the spirit realm. They have descended from higher levels, okay, and they came down here not only to experience this low, dense environment, but they came down here to be here at this time to assist the ascending beings with the ascension, to help the earth with her ascension. Now, the ascending beings, at one point, at the original point, they were just pure energy. And they have moved up into physical matter, and they came through the mineral kingdom, the plant kingdom, the animal kingdom. They're now in the human kingdom. And we're here to assist them with the ascension, because all of what is happening is brand new to them. They've never experienced it before. But we have experienced these higher dimensions that we are going back into. So we're here as the way showers. We're here as the example. We're here to help ground these higher energies that upon which the ascension is occurring. I hope that answers some of those questions.
Oh, yes, I think that helps a lot. Anybody else want to do star 2 and ask a question about this topic tonight? I don't have anyone with their hands up just yet, but I do have kind of a funny little question from Audra on the web, and she wants to know what happens with lower vibrational individuals that currently live with light workers.
Well, it's challenging.
I can relate to that one, I think.
I think a lot of light workers can. It's challenging for both of you. They're helping the light workers to stay grounded, and the light worker is helping.
So true.
Is helping to show them that there is another way. And the question is, the one that's grounded, are they open to learn? Are they open to grow? If they're not, then that says that there's just a lot in the third dimension that they have not yet learned, and they'll probably be staying in that dimension a while longer.
I would just like to make a comment. This is Ortrune. Everyone chose a role upon planet Earth, whether it be the one that Carl is referring to as the one that is the ascending being, or the one that is the descending being, because everything came from the heart and mind of Source to begin with. And the ones that are around us that we consider somewhat not on the path, they are there for us as way showers, because they truly are showing us, they're like a reflection of us, like the mirror of us, to help us in our ascension process, and we are a reflection of them to assist and help them on their ascension process.
She's a very wise lady, isn't she?
She is. Thanks for explaining that. I have someone online that says she seems to have less and less energy, feeling empty and trapped. And, I would, as you do these shows, you've got the light workers calling in, and, sometimes we tend to feel pretty zapped doing this work. What suggestions do you have for that?
Honor your body. If your body is tired, give it rest. Okay? it's exhausting to adjust to these higher frequencies, and it's doubly exhausting to adjust to these higher energies and do the work that we're here to do.
Mm-hmm.
So if you love your body, take care of it, nurture it, express that love. Don't push it, all right? Listen to it. And I'm talking about not only your physical body, but also your mental body and your emotional body. And even your spiritual body at times needs a break. Take it on vacation. Read a novel just for the fun of it, okay?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, amen to that. As I'm sitting out here in Arizona with some digestive issues, I'm taking some time to take care of myself out here. Yeah.
Go
ahead.
I would just also like to mention that we're going through a period with each one of us is still in our transmuting that which is within us. And Carl mentioned earlier in the program that, we have to eliminate and get rid of the various things about us that are no longer a part of us. And so because of that, very often we can feel empty. We can feel that we are alone. And some of that is our going through a grieving process. But going through that grieving process is part of the releasing, the part of the letting go, the part of transmutation. I like to mention it and say that it's transmutation because truly it's a part of us. Like letting go is like getting rid of it, but you always have to replace. So by transmuting the energy that is within you from what we consider, quote, a negative energy into a positive, that's the transmutation that takes place. But in this process, because we are still moving into the fifth dimension, we're not totally into the fifth dimension yet, we will have our times when we feel tired, when we feel alone, because these are all areas that we still have learning in, but sending divine radiant light and love into all of those different factors, that will help to transmute that vibratory frequency that you're experiencing at that time.
Mm-hmm. Great. Tina wants to know, where do children fit into the ascension and descension process?
As far as from what I read in the channel information, all children are ascending.
Interesting.
Yes.
Interesting. Wow. So let me think about this here. All children are ascending. So where do these indigo, or actually let's say crystal and new kids then fit into this?
Okay, that's an indication that all children are ascending. The percentage of children coming in with indigo energy, in my experience, and I'm a Santa Claus, and I see a couple thousand kids a year. Roughly 50% of children being born today are coming in with significant crystal energy. This means they are one step up in human evolution based on a higher level of DNA. They have more active codons in their DNA. The indigo children are a half a step up. Now, the indigos have always been with us. The history books, if a person is in the history books in a positive way, as I've dowsed them, they all have indigo energy. But what is different is there was only a mere fraction of 1% that were carrying indigo energy and almost no crystals historically. But now 50% are crystals and roughly 15% are indigos. Now, of the children, let me say of the people that carry this crystal indigo energy, in the dowsing work we have done, we find that 60% have both crystal and indigo, and it's only 20% that will just have indigo or just crystal, okay? And the fact that there are so many more coming in with this energy is a positive sign that humanity genetically is being uplifted, and that can only be done because the Earth can now support this higher level of evolvement in the DNA.
Wow, that's excellent Boy, I wish we could talk to you for, boy, you need to do like a 4-hour show because I think we're all just glued in here too. Anybody else want to ask Carl a question? We've got about 10 minutes left. *2 on your phone if you'd like to ask a question or have a comment. And I do have a comment from someone online saying that, she believes that a lot of her processing through a lot of this is happening in her dream time, a lot of the letting go.
Yes, that's true. For those that have a master teacher or ascended master teacher, they're going to school during their sleep time. And you can tell when this happens because your dreams will usually become quite different. And you may wake up in the morning kind of tired, okay?
Yeah, that's happened quite a lot with me, and you're exhausted, so you're out there doing a lot of work.
Well, you're either doing work or you're going to school, and sometimes
school and learning. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Right. Okay, I've got a caller from Burns, Oregon, and I'm going to open up your line, Karen.
Yeah, hi. I wonder if you have any information on anything happening with the spring equinox. And anything coming here in February or March? Any change here with energies?
I have had absolutely nothing. Have you gotten anything?
Well, no, I just heard from others, that something might happen. So I was wondering if you had any information on that.
Okay, I do not, but I want to share a thought with you here, Karen.
Okay.
Do you know what happened on December 21st, 2012?
Yeah.
What happened was 98% internal within individual people. They all went through their own unique experiences. And if whatever happens on the spring equinox, my guess is that it will probably be, even if there's an external wave of energy that comes in, it's going to impact each person uniquely differently.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. Orton has something.
Right, thank you.
Again, it's you're going to be uplifted also in your awareness and consciousness, because with every wave that comes in, we are always being uplifted in awareness and consciousness. So it'll be another wave coming in of high energy, and you will become more aware yourself, sometimes not even recognizing it right away, but all of a sudden it's like, oh, wow, how did I ever know that? How didn't I know that? So that's how you start to know that these things are occurring for you.
Yeah, okay.
Great. Thanks so much for the call, Karen. I'm going to move along real quick because I'd like, Carl, could you explain to us about your life script readings?
Yeah. We all spent time in the astral plane where we were before we came here. It's different, but we all spent roughly 20 years preparing for this lifetime. And we weren't working alone. We were working with our spirit family over there, the angels that have been with us through multiple lifetimes, working with higher aspects of ourselves. And we determined what growth we wanted to attain in this lifetime and what service we wanted to give, all right? And now our spirit family, they're acting as the directors of the play. They send in the right people, the right situation, the right circumstance at the right time in our life to gain the learning or to give the service we said we wanted to give. And we, with our free will, we can say, yeah, I'm going to do that, and then do it. Or we can say, don't want to do that. So then we bypass that and we go into Plan B. Now, Plan B is going to give us the same opportunity, but it's quite a bit more intense than Plan A. And trust me, you don't want to get the Plan C. Okay? So in our life script, we're going to find out where you came from, which is the basic energy you still carry. We're going to find out who's working with you from the spirit plane. We're going to find out how much indigo and crystal energy you have, and we'll give you a report card of how much time you're spending in the third, fourth, and fifth levels of consciousness. Okay, and then we'll go, with your spirit family, we'll go into the temple that contains the Akashic record, and we will look at the script that you prepared for this lifetime. Some people call it your life contract. It's the same thing. Okay, and by looking at that, you can determine the growth you've already achieved, the service you've already given, and also what you have yet to do. So it gives you a sense of accomplishment and a sense of direction. And we do this with your spirit family, and we do this together. And then your spirit family will usually want to take you into the Temple of Initiation for a very empowering initiatory experience. So it's 45 minutes, it costs $75, and it is all taped, and I mail you the tape.
Great. So you can do this in person as well as over the phone?
I do most over the phone, yes, but it can be done either way.
Great. Oh, excellent. Thanks for sharing that with us. I'm going to mention one quick thing. I've got one last question that I'm going to take online, and I think I can answer this. The question is feeling depressed part of this journey, and how do I manage myself through this? The show that I do every month, the first Tuesday at noon Eastern, is called Calling All Lightworkers. And you know you're a lightworker if you sort of have always felt that you don't fit in here. And you know you're a lightworker if there's you have this inner calling. You know that there's something bigger and better out there for your soul, but you might not know exactly what that is. And then coinciding with what Carl was talking about, the descending being, and you sort of get here and you sort of forget and you get mucked up with all the physical stuff going on and whatnot. As a light worker, it is very common for people to get sad, feel lonely, and yes, I'll even use the D word, depressed. And you may have days where you're sad and you don't even know why you're sad. And so for the person that sent that question, you could go to the September 12th replay on my website, and we cover that in great detail on the Calling All Lightworkers show. So I'm just going to recap here. My name is Patty Ortel. My website is feelingforhealing.com, or you can go to pattyortel.com, and it's ORTYL. And I do my show every first Tuesday of the month at noon Eastern. Carl's show, third Monday of the month at 8 p.m. Eastern, and now Ortran is going to host a show on the Ancient Egyptian Mystery Schools the second Monday of every month, also at 8 p.m. Eastern. And to check out all the other presenters that are part of this Wisdom and Intuition Network, you can go to worldclasswin.com. And you can check out a calendar. There's pretty much somebody every day doing a show. We don't charge any money for this. A lot of us will do little mini readings. And I know we didn't get a chance to do that tonight, but I really feel like there was a lot in this topic, and we had a lot of questions coming through on the web. If you would like a life script reading, please go to Carl's website at OurSpiritualAscension.com and look that up. And I'd like to thank everyone for joining. Carl and Ortran, do you have any final thoughts or words you'd like to impart?
Yes, we're just the most exciting time in the history of humanity on the planet, and just do not beat yourself over the head because you're not doing what as much as you can do, or what as much as you should do. Do what you can, and please ask for the help that you need, not only of family and friends and other light workers, but of your spirit family. And if we work together and support one another, we're going to go through this much more easily and peacefully and quickly than if we, try to be. Nobody's here to be a martyr, all right? And don't feel that you need to be. So be good to yourself. Be gentle with yourself. Love yourself and take care of yourself.
I'd just like to add to go within and listen to what is being said within you. We all tend to be extremely busy, and if we go within, they'll sort out for us, our guides and our masters. They'll sort out for us what it is that we are to do that particular day, and trust that that's all you need to do. Even if you have a list of 20 things, you only end up doing 3, know that that is what you're supposed to do. Start trusting that divine voice from within. Thank you.
Great. I want to thank everybody for calling tonight. I really appreciate it. You can listen to this replay. It will be out on the World Class Win site probably tomorrow. So if you want to repeat this at any time, you can, and it will be on Carl's website as well. And I'll even throw it out on mine if you want to do a replay. Or just remember the link that was given to you in your email. For those of you following on the web, same thing that you clicked on. And if you click on that link again, you can do a replay. So again, thanks everybody for joining.